Oh, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of No Reserves Radio. This is Alex.
Hey, Angelo, just put some more joy into it. Welcome in, guys. Welcome to another episode. And Angelo is feeling really sad right now. I'm not sure why. Maybe I know. Um, Maybe it's the fact that your fraud of a team, or teams in this case, the fraudulent teams that you liked so much, all got eliminated. As I said, they would.
They didn't just get eliminated, like none of the games were close.
No, they got
Except the Rams Lions.
humiliated.
Except the Rams Lions. That's the only game that was close.
Yeah, but that one wasn't really like a fraud team. The fraud teams were your Philadelphia Eagles and your Dallas Cowboys. Oh, now that I'm saying Cowboys, Angelo. Sorry, I was choking. Whenever I hear about the Cowboys, I always start choking up. It's just a gag reflex, I guess, right?
So I knew it was going to be a bad week when Saturday occurred and my
Oh,
furnace went out. I don't know. It's probably not cold where you are. But
uh,
do you know the conditions in the Kansas City game?
oh yeah,
That's about what it is here.
yeah. It's nowhere near as cold in here, but yeah, it's
Oh,
definitely that feels very cold.
I have new like new bars of cold. Like right now, I'm sitting here in sweatpants, a t-shirt, and a hoodie. Like I have a hoodie on to record. Yesterday, when I was watching TV, I could see my breath. When I went to microwave my breakfast this morning, there was steam coming out of the microwave.
Uh, You know what? It's funny that, like, for example, here it is nearly as cold. Like a very bad day for us. It's like, I don't know, 2, 3 degrees Celsius, which I guess that translated to Fahrenheit. It's not that word that bad. But the thing is, here the houses have barely no isolation. So, like, for example, the cold really gets inside. Like, the houses are really badly built in Portugal. So I guess it's not as bad here, but I guess it's equivalent to because, for example, that happens to me. The one thing that you were talking about, that when you were talking, you were seeing the sort of like
Your breath. Yeah.
frostiness, yeah,
Yeah.
coming out. That happens a lot here as well, and it's like it's
Really.
just par for the norm, yeah.
How the fuck do you deal with it? I hate this shit.
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, usually just having heating inside the house, like, and it's
Oh,
not
that's
great,
not an
really.
option right now.
Yeah,
The people come Friday. The people come Friday, and they're going to give me an estimate on new
yeah.
furnace and AC.
And it's like you're saying you're in hoodie and you have the sweatpants. It's like that's how I usually am dressed for this episode. So
What? This guy.
yeah,
This
yeah.
guy. But
Sometimes
yeah, I knew it was going to be a bad week when the furnace went out. I had no heat, and then I got to what was the first game that I watched? I think the Dallas game, and I was just like,
oh, you
oh
didn't
no.
watch any of the Browns game?
No, I did not watch the Browns get decimated. I watched the
Okay.
first half, and then I was like, oh, this shit's over. When I stopped.
It's the Browns game, although there's not a whole lot to talk about because
I don't
I
think
guess
Joe Flacco. In the first half I watched, Joe Flacco did not play bad. The defense could not stop anything.
yeah, that was the main issue. And it was one like I know I sat here and said that basically the Browns were the pick. And for most of the week, I really didn't see a whole lot of pushback on that. Like, if there was one game that it was almost unanimous, was that the Browns were going to win and cover the line. And it was, in fact, it was the game that went completely the other way. Like, Eagles, for example, were a bigger shock. Dallas was a bigger shock. But I saw people picking the opposite line. Like, I saw no one picking the Texans, and they came out and they just dominated. And although I did say that Stroud struggles versus man coverage and he struggles versus pressure, one thing that it's also true is the Browns defense doesn't really travel that well. So it was one thing that we maybe should have considered in that line. But still, I mean, at the end of the day, Flacco did throw
There you
like
go.
two pick sixes, weren't didn't he?
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I got a
I
new
mean,
one. My Pepsi tastes like Dr. Pepper. That's how cold it is. Anyway, go on. Go on. Joe Flacco threw two
nah, Joe
pick
Flacco
sixes.
just the picks. Yeah, the pick sixes really were killers. But like for the most part, I really can't take
Those didn't
anything
happen
away from
until the second
Stroud.
half, though, right? Like it was 21 to like 7 by the time those happened,
Yeah,
right?
but like that's still manageable. Like 21-7 is manageable.
I guess that's true.
21 what? 21 no, not 21, but like when you have on like the 14 points, it's like 35 to 7. And then you're
35-7.
like,
Yeah.
um that's not as manageable. But yeah, like take nothing away from Stroud. I mean, 157 QB rating, three touchdowns, 274 yards passing, just 16 of 21, very efficient, 13.0 yards per attempt, just really efficient. And then the run game was okay. I mean, Singletary at 66 yards, like the rest didn't do much, but the run game did enough to the point in which they managed to control the game and they got the dub. I mean,
We didn't need to.
Browns,
Brevin Jordan had that huge ass reception for like 70 yards.
yeah,
Nico
he
Collins
did.
just destroyed him. And Tank Dell. Was it Tank Dell? Who was the other wide receiver that was destroying him along with Nico?
John Mechie got 44 yards,
John Mechie.
but that's basically it. Like no one else really did
So it was
anything. It's
Nico.
like,
Okay, it was Nico
yeah,
and
it
that
was
one
Nico.
reception for Brevin. Okay, go on.
Yeah, yeah, and then I believe, yeah, Dalton Schultz also had a big one for 37 yards.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean they got the big plays at the end of the day. I mean if you look at the game, it was like two pick sixes. That's 14 points. They had a long touchdown to Brevin Jordan, a long touchdown to Dalton Schultz. I mean that's what that's 28 points. I mean
Right
they
there.
scored 45, so that's roughly half of the points that they scored, or a bit more than half of the points that they scored. At the end of the day, they got the big plays. Browns really couldn't get going. This Browns team lived off the big plays as well when they had Flacco at the helm. It was the ability of just having Flacco shug it deep. And it's funny that it's one of those traits that it's close to Josh Allen that we'll talk about later. That it's just like
You get that
you
keeps
can
on giving?
live you can live with the interceptions as long as you also get the big plays. And that's how they went the later part of the season with Flacco. In this game, they just didn't get the long plays
So
and
here's
they
the
got
thing.
the
Here's the thing.
interceptions.
So like one of the I'll go back to one of the late games that they played. Flacco had two interceptions.
Yes.
They both came in the first half, and one of them was literally as the clock was winding to zero at halftime.
Yes.
These did not happen in that situation. These happened while they were down, trying to come back. No, they were terrible interceptions.
Yeah, they were. I mean, and there's some games in which he threw like a few big ducks that you could just see that they weren't good throws. But as I said, when you get the big plays and you get the long touchdowns, you can live with the interceptions. This one, it's just the interceptions, and they died by the Flacco. Flacco became the Fluco.
Yeah,
It's like a Cinderella story.
it's
It just
unfortunate.
turned back
It's
to a
okay.
pumpkin.
It just means the Houston Texans have to be the one to beat Baltimore in the first round. It's all good.
Ah,
It's all
it's
good.
funny that you think that can happen. Oh, yeah, that's the only thing that can still hold your bracket there. It's like if if the Ravens for some reason don't win this game, you can
Yeah,
maybe hang on
yeah,
to that. That's the
for
thing
some
that you're
reason,
hanging
yeah,
on to.
yeah. If the Ravens for some reason beat the Texans,
No, no, if the Texans for some reason beat the Ravens.
No, 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 no. It's the other way around. It's the other way around.
That's the only thing that you can live with. Then I guess we can talk about the first frauds here. First
Oh
frauds of the
God.
season. The
Oh
Miami
God.
Dolphins.
Can't you really call them frauds. Like those were. I'm willing to give them and Pittsburgh to an extent a pass because of the conditions they played in.
You know how you wouldn't get those conditions?
How's that?
If you hadn't blundered the division and the second overall seed
This guy.
versus the Bills. Yeah,
You're not wrong. You're
hurts.
not wrong about that. No, you're acting like I picked them. I didn't pick them. I knew what was gonna
No,
happen.
no, you
Just
didn't
like
pick
I,
them. You picked them on the spread though.
just like I know that Kansas City is about to beat Buffalo, and you're just gonna have to accept that.
I'm gonna push back on that, but we'll see. We'll see.
You're gonna have to accept it. You're gonna have to accept it.
We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, as I said, the minute this team faced adversity, it was done. And here they faced an adversity in terms of the weather. And I know you'll say it was extreme and it was all of this and all of that,
Patrick
but it's
Mahomes' helmet literally cracked underneath the cold.
yes, that is true. However, I would point out that maybe that's not a complete excuse for your offense just completely shutting down. Because at the end of the day, like, yeah, and the Kansas City offense still put up what, 26 points? Yeah, 26 points. Pacheco still went
Rasheed
off.
Rice looks really good.
Pacheco still went 24 yards, 24 carries, 89 yards, and a touchdown. Mahomes still threw for a touchdown, threw for 262 yards. And it's funny that coaches will show you what they think of their QBs when the going gets rough. And I think you saw that with Tua. And it was they needed to throw the ball and win the game because the game plan at first wasn't that conservative because they really didn't rush the ball that much. Like they rushed the ball 6 times with A Chain and they rushed the ball 8 times with Mustard, and that's basically it. And it's like you look at the game plan for passing, and it's all short stuff. It's like the coach knows that the QB can't really make those big deep throws. So it's just
Oh,
like it's
stop
just
it.
gonna be the
It
short
was
stuff.
negative like 20. Why would you want to throw that ball deep?
Because you're losing the game and you need to make a big play. This team lived off the big plays more than any other team in the league. And when the
It
going
was
got
negative
rough,
20. It
yes,
was negative 20, Alex.
yes, it was. But you know what team also threw the ball and let their QB take the chances? The Kansas City Chiefs. You know what? Because they trust their QB in the playoffs.
Oh,
And I'm
this
sorry
guy.
to tell you, but I'm pretty sure that Mike McDaniels knows what he has in Tua. And he doesn't trust Tua completely. And this
I
is
think you're
now,
being a little bit unfair to
and this
Tua.
is now, the Dolphins haven't won a single playoff game since 2000. It is what it is, man. This team was never
Some
built. It's a team that was built for the regular season, and it's fun because the offense is explosive and they'll get the big plays, and Tyreek Hill is fun, and they have Mostert and they have Achan, and it's all fun. It's all fun and dandy with this team. But in the regular season, when the going got rough, when they got to the playoffs, it was over. I mean, unless they were playing at home every single game, this team would have zero chance at actually doing anything in the playoffs. And it's just sad, really.
Well, then they had to go to Kansas City. That was negative 20 at the time.
Yes,
That too.
you know what they should have done? They should have beat Buffalo.
I don't disagree with that, but I mean, saying that this is a huge statement when they played in like unideal weather, it's not. It's really not.
It's
It's
not
okay.
just like it's one thing to lose because you're playing in that weather. It's another thing that your offense that was just so highly touted scored like 7 points at less than what 250 yards of total offense.
Yeah,
It's
that's true.
just like I can understand if like they took a small downgrade, but they went from being
I
like
don't know. Like, to be honest, most of their guys are skinny, fast dudes. You took a cheetah and you put him in the tundra. That
yeah.
that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. So maybe win games to win your division. I guess it's that simple,
I
huh?
don't I don't disagree with that. They should have won against Buffalo, but don't worry, Kansas City's got them.
Maybe it's not even Buffalo, but I don't know. Maybe beat the Baltimore Ravens. maybe beat the Tennessee Titans. Maybe beat, I don't know, the Chiefs when the conditions weren't that bad. Maybe beat the other fraud team that I guess we can talk about next, the Philadelphia
Oh no.
Eagles. So how about
Oh.
those Eagles, Angelo?
Pretty rough.
Yeah.
I think the defense was more disappointing than the offense because the defense like looked like it couldn't stop anything.
No, it
The
didn't just
offense
look. They couldn't stop anyone. They couldn't stop you and me, probably.
Oh, that's pretty rough, dude. I think you might be a little too harsh on the Eagles defense right now.
Too harsh. Too
Yes,
harsh.
too harsh.
You
Too
know,
harsh.
you know what Ray Lewis said when Ray Lewis joined the Manning cast when the game was going on. So he joined the Manning brothers
I'm sure
in
you
their
watched that.
last in that last broadcast,
Uh-huh.
and this is what he said.
Uh,
And I'll quote, "Guys, listen. Let me say this: practicing tackling every day is based on angles. When you see the angles of these
not wrong.
guys and the way they approach tackling, it's crazy. Like nobody plays together. Put them in a cup. If you put them guys in a cup, you're not going to see big plays like this. But everybody's playing individual ball, and that's insane to me." And he was just going off and off and off and off. And it's like he had like more quotes about it, and it's like he also said that's why sometimes I get outside and I go sit on my water because I can't deal with this type of stuff, Peyton. Like what? Like it's crazy. Like he
Are
was
you
going
telling
off.
me that Ray Lewis said that the Philadelphia Eagles defense was so shit that he couldn't watch them anymore?
Yes, he essentially said that he was done watching that. And it was a disgrace, to be honest. Like you look at that defense, and there's touchdowns there. The touchdown with Trey Palmer, like you're paying millions of dollars to James Bradbury, and you're paying millions of dollars for a guy that you trade during the season in Kevin Byard, and those two guys were put in a blender by a rookie. What rookie sixth rounder? Like
Trey
completely
Palmer
evaded
really a
James
rookie? I
Brad.
thought he was a 1 year.
What?
Palmer, Trey Palmer. Is he really a rookie? Rookie? I thought he was like a 1 year.
I think you're confusing them with Joshua Palmer, probably the guy from
Probably.
the Chargers. I believe he's a
Uh,
second year player. But yeah, no,
okay. Yeah,
Trey Palmer is the
multiple
rookie
Palmers.
from the Buccaneers.
Okay, go on.
And I mean, it was just a disgrace. Like everything down the middle, it was an easy completion. They couldn't really stop the run. They didn't really even look like they were trying, to be honest. Like Rashad White just could get the ball at will. The one big thing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is like they couldn't run down the middle throughout the whole season, regular season, and their fans were pretty upset about it because the game plan seemed very conservative. You watched like the first few plays of that drive, and it's like they could do whatever they want. If they want to run down the middle, they can. I mean, the first play it went like for 9 yards, a run down the middle. If they want to pass down the middle, it's okay. They can get it. I mean, Kate Houghton got like three big plays down the middle. And like the game was 32-9, and although it was a bit closer than that for most of the game, because I believe like enter for most of the third quarter, like it was 16-9, so it wasn't really that far away in terms of like how the score ended and how most of the game went.
Yeah.
But you really
Yeah.
didn't saw a whole lot of fight in this Eagles team. It felt like a team that knew what I said all along. That they were frozen. They weren't really there to play the game. They were just there to get it done
Really.
with because they didn't really think they had a chance this year.
So this must have been like Alex's Christmas. Like quite honestly,
Oh, it
like
was.
if Jason Kelsey after he retired, by the way, he
Yes.
retired would have got on the podium and would have been like, "Yeah, I can't do this anymore. We were frauds. Alex is right. He was always right, and you should watch No Reserves Radio instead of our podcast. Alex is never wrong." Like that's the only thing that Jason could have said that would have made this day happier for you.
Yes. That would have been a miracle. And he should have done it, to be honest. I mean,
Oh my
it's
God.
okay to admit when like things are just that evident. It was just a disgrace, man. And this leads me to the question: what's next for the Eagles?
Do
What
you
do you
think they
think?
knew that this was going to be Jason Kelsey's last game and they decided to play like shit after that?
It's like, yeah, our
They took
best
that
player.
information and they were like, "Yeah, we'll make sure this one's one you'll never forget, Jason. Don't worry,
Yeah.
buddy."
And he was very pumped that it was gonna be in a good sense. And it sort of didn't went that way. So did you see anything from that Eagles game?
Yeah, Devonta Smith is definitely the wide receiver that Jalen trusts.
I mean, it didn't really have another one, so
AJ Brown?
AJ Brown missed the game. He wasn't out there.
Oh, he missed. Oh, he missed the game. I
Yeah.
forgot that.
Yeah. And now he's being the diva or something because now he has removed every single thing that connects him to the Philadelphia Eagles on on his bios and all of that. It's just that old shit show that it's
Did
coming.
they give him like what's his contract? Did they just give him like 2 years ago a max
Yeah,
deal?
yeah,
Like,
they did. So that's gonna be a fun one, huh?
so wait a minute. So right now, the Philadelphia Eagles are managing Jason Kelsey's retirement. They just got embarrassed in the playoff game. The city of Philadelphia is like, I listened to the clip you sent me. They're calling for everyone's heads. AJ Brown wants out. Jalen Hurts, granted, like he was kind of hobbled. Like during the end, this is where I messed up. During the end, Jalen Hurts had like every injury on the book. It felt like there's no way he entered that game anywhere close to 100%. And I think the fact that he only rushed it one time for 5 yards is kind of telling of that. But Jalen Hurts looked the worst he looked. Jason Kelsey retired. AJ Brown wants out. The defense looked absolutely putrid. What do you do?
What's next for the Eagles? Honestly, it should be just that. Nick Sirianni should get fired.
I don't think so. That's way too extreme.
It's funny how we forget sometimes, like, how things started. Because it's like you're going on a trip, and it's like you really don't want to go on the trip. But then along the trip, like you see some fun stuff and you have fun. But when
Oh
you
my
arrive to the
God.
destination, it's like it's just as bad as you thought it was gonna be. And we forget why we didn't like things in the first. And it's like when Nick Sirianni got announced as the coach, he got some pushback. Like he was inexperienced, the whole fan base wasn't behind the hiring. Then you get the press conference and it's like it's Adam Gase to the Jets level of bad. And
Adam Gase
people
just
aren't happy with that. People aren't too happy. But then he gets Steichen. He gets the Colts' current head coach, Shane Steichen, and he gets Gannon, the current Arizona Cardinals head coach, as coordinators for the offense and the defense, respectively. And things go pretty well. I mean, he has a stout team. Like the team is well built. The defense is nice.
Patricia
They
been
get to a
announced
Super
fired
Bowl.
yet?
What?
Has Matt Patricia been announced fired yet? Because that should be the first
No,
thing they
no,
do.
no. I mean, I don't know how you even keep the guy employed after everything that happened down the line, but here we are. I'm shocked that the both coaches in the NFC East are still employed, but we'll get to that. And it's like you get to the Super Bowl, and it seems like all bygones are bygones. But then you reach to the destination of your trip, and it's like this season, the season starts, and there's no like super coordinator there to save you. Like he makes two bad hires in both the offense and the defense, and the offense is like they know five plays. The playbook, you know how you sometimes watch the games and it's like you watch an Andy Reid playbook and that playbook looks like a menu from a very bad restaurant that has every single dish in the world there. And it's
Yeah,
like whichever one you pick, you're gonna get disappointed because no restaurant knows how to make and can like make in a in a good way can make like I don't know 150 dishes. And
right, right.
maybe if you had looked at the Eagles play calling, like the play calling sheet, you would see maybe five dishes. So you think, okay, this is a nice restaurant. But no, this is not a restaurant. This is the NFL, and the offense knew five plays all goddamn year. And it's like they just knew how to do that. And as Ray Lewis eviscerated the Eagles' defense, Peyton Manning eviscerated the Eagles' offense because they had no clue how to adjust. Like, zero blitz, no protection, like, no extra protection. It's five guys versus seven. Coaches are just completely okay with that. No sort of like a dump off opportunity for Jalen Hurts. Nothing of that. It's like if they see zero man blitz, it's like if they see eight, seven guys blitzing. The answer to that all season was Jalen Hurts, you figured it out. Run for it. I don't care. It's like you do you. That's a terrible scheme and a terrible coaching, and there's like no adjustment whatsoever. So now we get reminded why we didn't want to go in the trip in the first in the for starters, and it's like because this guy is not a good coach. All he does is just go to the media, say that he's sorry, start crying about it, or get really emotional as he was in the Super Bowl. But he doesn't do anything. He makes no adjustment. He made no adjustment to his coaching staff all year. It's like it's terrible. That's
I
terrible
actually,
coaching.
so I decided, like, while you were going on your little rant, to Google just Philadelphia Eagles. That's all I Googled. And one of the first things is Lane Johnson says Eagles didn't do shit to address struggles prior to playoff loss. Embarrassing.
Exactly.
See,
Even the players are saying that. It's like it's pretty visible to everyone. And I'm not even an Eagles fan. I don't follow the Eagles that closely, but just watching the games every single week, it just looked like they weren't really doing anything to improve. Like, yeah, they got to 11-1, and I just sat here and I said they were frauds. Then they won what? One game the rest of the season, or no games the rest of the season, and they get to the playoffs, they get humiliated, and I'm still here sitting and saying that they are frauds because they were
the
frauds every
Eagles'
single part of
collapse
the
was
season.
inevitable. Oh
Yeah, it
God.
was. It was. It's just like, and I think he should get fired, to be honest. And I'm shocked that he wasn't fired yet.
Jalen Hurts doesn't give Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni strong endorsements after playoff exit. Let's see what he said.
I mean, he shouldn't get strong endorsements either. I mean, it's like, dude, there were plenty of doubts about you prior to the Super Bowl. You know how you had like that one year that was pretty good. I mean, he wasn't the MVP conversation. He got to the Super Bowl. Pretty strong year. But it feels to me like a guy who got like way too overhyped. Like we sort of forgot what he was prior to last season.
I have
Maybe he
confidence
isn't
in
all
everyone
that.
in this building. It's just a matter of us playing clean football, and that's been something we haven't done. Was Jalen Hurts' words.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe, yeah, he was just hurt. I mean, his finger in his throwing hand wasn't that good.
That's,
It was really messed
I was
up.
about to say. I was about to say. I'm maybe I'm giving too many passes here, but I'm kind of like you kind of saw the injuries pile up to Jalen Hurts at the end of the season. That like I think the fact that he finished with one rush for 5 yards is the most telling thing like ever. Like he
As I
consistently
told
got
you,
10 plus carries every single game going into the final weeks. No,
as I
this
told
man.
you,
Go ahead.
the game was just like so bad for the Eagles that they tried. I think it was just one tush push in a 2 point conversion, and the
Right.
Bucks stopped it. That's how well the game went for the Eagles.
Yeah. Exactly. So.
I don't know. I think he should get fired. Sirianni should get fired. The whole staff should be fired.
So here's a question then, since this is technically a both show. If AJ Brown goes, like, how far is the Devonta Smith hype train gonna go?
Uh,
Like, should
you
I get
know,
straddled up, or is it about to fall off a cliff?
like I always was sort of a big fan for Devonta Smith. I liked him since college. You weren't that big into him because you had the concerns regarding the size, which
I was wrong.
were
I was
justified.
100% wrong. In fact, I
No,
was
but
so
they were
wrong.
justified.
I've acquired him in multiple leagues. That's how
Yes.
I admit it. I was wrong on that.
Yeah. Um, but I'm not so sure that he is a team's number one, and he can be a team number one. But I'm
He
not
was the
so
number
sure
one in
that he
that
can be a.
game.
Yeah, but it's in that game, and the Bucks defense wasn't. It's not that the Bucks defense isn't good. It's that they take way too many risks when blitzing, and it
So
opens up to the big plays that Devonta Smith got a couple.
so I have a theory as far as in fact I'll wait until the Cowboys play because this applies more to the Cowboys than it does the Eagles. So let's go on.
If we're talking about fantasy football, and while we're here, I
Yeah.
would say that the Jason Kelsey, and I'm not sure if that's been confirmed that he's retired. I believe the report was that
Yes.
he admitted to the teammates that
Yes.
he was going to retire. I
Yep.
think it's nothing official yet. But if he does go, I'm not so sure if that doesn't impact Jalen Hurts' value in Dynasty.
I mean, they still have Lane Johnson. They still have Jordan Mayada. I can't say his name,
Mylata.
but Mayada. Yeah. So I mean, they still have the semblance of a very solid offensive line.
Yeah, but like, what really made Jalen Hurts as good of a fantasy asset was the tush push. At the end of the day, it's like it's getting those
They're gonna
1, 2 yard touchdowns. And I'm not so sure if the tush push will be as effective without Kelsey
Jason
because
Kelsey is gonna announce his retirement, and he's gonna be the Eagles' new offensive line coordinator.
I could see it, to be honest.
I could too. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, if there's someone that I can see that just retires and immediately gets back to football because the dude seems to live and breathe football, it's Jason Kelsey.
So one of the things, because we were talking about this, we have a separate group chat that we talk about sports sometimes. But one of the things that me, Ren, Austin, and Cameron were talking about is the Jason Kelsey retirement makes sense to me. Like Jason Kelsey loves football, absolutely loves football, but he hates like the pageantry, the pregame suit, all that fun stuff. He doesn't like any of that. He likes the game. He just likes the game. He doesn't like the travel, and he has three kids and a super successful podcast, probably a top three podcast on Spotify as far as the sports realm goes. He's fine, regardless of if he gets a coordinator spot or not. So the retirement makes sense. Let's turn it around. How long do you think then Travis Kelsey is for this NFL world?
Travis, I think he plays a few more years, but I'm
Because
not so
this is
sure
what
if
I said.
that
I
long.
said that Travis Kelsey is probably specifically saying to chase Gronk and rings. I don't see another incentive.
He won't get there though, will he?
To Gronk?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he has an argument as far as being the GOAT tight end along with Gronk, don't you?
Yeah, I think he has an argument. I'm just not sure if he can get to Rob Gronkowski's amount of rings.
Right. I don't he's not chasing his rings, he's chasing to get to Gronk and to get more rings, is what
Oh,
I was saying.
okay. I thought you were saying that he was looking
No, he's
for the
not trying to
four
get to
Super Bowl
six.
rings.
He's trying
Okay,
to get more rings to solidify his argument, and he's trying to chase Gronk as far as that GOAT argument goes.
okay, got it. Yeah, I think at most it's like a couple of years, to be honest, because
I
he
do too.
doesn't seem like the type of guy that wants to get that hurt about football. It's like he seems to always be sort of a relatively healthy guy, and he knows when not to take hits, and he's a very
Yeah.
smart player in terms of like field awareness. You could see
Something
that
Cameron said. Tell me if you disagree with this or agree with this. Over the last year or two, Jason Kelsey, Travis Kelsey does not look like he has the same go that he used to in previous seasons.
yeah, I'm not so sure that he does either. I think it is more just like, and it's tough because I'm not saying that he doesn't care about football,
Right,
but I
right, right.
think there's definitely other priorities in his life right now. I'm not saying that football isn't at the top of the list yet or still, but it's definitely not as like a
So,
unique of a
so I
priority as it
think,
once was.
funny enough, I think Travis is kind of the opposite of Jason, where Jason loves the like football aspect of football. I think Travis likes more of the pageantry and the presentation. And he still loves to go out and win football games. So let's be real. But but as
Yeah.
far as like game day fit, Travis is amazing.
Yeah, I think like Travis is more geared towards the out of field type of stuff around football, and Kelsey's more about just like the game itself.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I think a couple more years, and I also think he calls it a career. But
Yeah, I can see that too.
things can change in the NFL. Like I don't know, maybe if they win a
Things
Super
change
Bowl this
fast in the
year,
NFL.
maybe if they win the Super Bowl, maybe he just calls it quick. Maybe if they win the Super Bowl, he just gets even a bigger drive and wants to go for more. So I don't know. It sort of depends. Things are just way too fluid in the NFL. Right now,
Yeah.
I'd say maybe 2 more seasons of Kelsey, and that's it. And I think one thing that will be telling is when do you see the Chiefs like, properly target the tight end position via the draft, for example. When you start to see those, like the cracks, that's when you know that it might be coming. So teams will tell you what they think about the players as well, and what they
I
think
mean,
the
Travis
current
has a lot
outlook
of
is for the
glowing things
players.
to say about Noah Gray. So depending on,
Maybe it's
I'm
it,
not,
yeah.
I'm not sure how old Noah Gray is right now, but depending on how old he is, maybe their plan is just to do another, Travis Kelsey, where they get someone late, later in their career. You know,
Mm,
we'll
yeah,
see what Noah Brown is right now.
I
Noah,
agree.
or not Noah Brown, Noah Gray.
While we're here doing the football podcast, I think you have some other news to talk about when
He's
you're doing the
24.
NBA.
That he could very well be that. At in 2 years, that'll put him at 26. That could very well be the answer.
Yeah, but as I was saying, I think you'll have
But
some news to talk about in the NBA show. So just a small teaser. Not sure if you've seen Twitter yet.
no, I have not.
Okay.
And now I'm
So,
Googling NBA to see what this is.
but a big trade happened. Not
Coming
sure
out.
if you want to tease, so I won't say anything.
It doesn't come up when you put NBA. Let's see NBA trade.
Huh. Okay, maybe that pops up, or just check Woj Twitter.
Woj's Twitter. Woj
Yeah,
Twitter.
I'm
Woj
surprised it doesn't
bomb.
pop up. Yeah,
Oh! Brenna's gonna be a happy, happy boy.
yeah. He's from Indiana, isn't he? Or he's a
He
Pacers
is.
fan, I guess. So
Yep.
yeah, some more things for you guys to talk about.
Uh, that coming Sunday.
Coming Sunday, tune in, guys, and they will discuss the trade that just happened.
So I'm gonna have to do some research on that. But anyway, go on. Sorry. What were you gonna? You want to
Uh,
keep dunking on the Philadelphia Eagles since you like doing that,
I
calling them
think I think
frauds?
the Eagles are just
Oh,
about done here. I think they should
oh,
fire
you're done. You're done.
Sirianni.
You done. You beat
Yeah,
the dead
yeah,
horse to
yeah.
the ground.
I beat the dead horse to the
Is it
ground.
dead? It's
Like
not coming back, Alex. Are you sure?
just miserable offense, absolutely miserable defense, and this is what I thought the Eagles would be. So
Sure.
I feel vindicated finally.
You sure about that?
And I guess we'll talk about the other game that I also feel vindicated about. But how
Oh.
about them Cowboys as well, Angelo?
Yeah. How about the Cowboys?
You remember what I said about this game when we were calling it? I said, if I'm not mistaken, you will know how this game goes by the end of like the second drive of each team. Because you will know if Jordan Love is on, because when Jordan Love is on, he's probably a top 12 QB in the NFL right now. And if he's
Yeah.
out, I mean, then you know that the Packers are out. And you saw the first drive, and it's like Love was precise with his passing. He was effective with his passing. Dallas couldn't really stop the run. Like Aaron Jones, at some point on Wikipedia, Aaron Jones appeared as the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, which was hilarious, to be honest. And like you watched the Cowboys, and you just knew it was a regular choking playoff game by the Cowboys. And it is what it is, man. It just ended up playing that way. Like the whole game never really looked like the Cowboys had any sort of chance. And much like the Eagles, it looked like the Cowboys knew that this wasn't really their year and they were frauds. So if that could come out and say just like Alex was right, all of that thing, I would appreciate it as well. But maybe it's just hard to admit. Like they are known chokers. They will continue to be chokers, and this is what
So
it is, man. It's just like Dallas isn't a good football team.
okay,
It's like,
okay, okay. I'm gonna give Dallas a little bit of flowers. At least they didn't go down like the Eagles. The Eagles look lost. Dallas at least tried to fight.
yeah, man. The thing is, when the game mattered, the Cowboys pretty much gave no fight. Like
Yeah.
when that game mattered, Dak had what, like under
Two
200
picks.
yards passing, two
Yeah.
picks. So yeah, he ends up with 400 yards, but that's empty calories. That's like you're hearing a bunch of like junk food, and you're not really gaining anything from it outside of fat. So yeah, that's just like it's empty calories, man. When the game mattered, they got completely blown out of the water, and Dak really didn't do anything outside of just throwing
Do
a pick
you think
six to Darnell
it,
Savage.
I'm gonna keep going back to fantasy? Romeo Dobbs, is his stock just like did it just like go through the roof? Like am I not looking at the ceiling? Is it just gonna keep going?
Uh, uh, I think it's tough because
You think
it's
it's
it's a
tough?
weird. Yeah, I think it's a weird game. Like Jordan Love threw the ball 21 times.
Hmm.
I mean, like Jaden Reed didn't have a single reception, and Jaden
No,
Reed
he didn't.
has been for the most part of the season their best wide receiver.
Yep.
So I think it's just a weird game. Like they managed to run the ball pretty well. They got the chance. They got to wherever was open. Like there wasn't really a one wide receiver. It's just like whichever guy was open, Jordan Love was making the play.
Yep.
And it happened to be Romeo Dubs. Next week,
Over
maybe it
and
is
over and
Jaden
over and
Reed.
over again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, he had a good game,
Next week,
but
maybe
my
it's. Are you predicting the Packers to beat the 49ers?
no, no, I don't think they beat the
Okay, okay,
49ers.
okay,
But maybe
okay.
next week it's like it's Jaden Reed or it's Christian Watson or maybe it's Bo Melton or Dontavian Wicks who has the big game. I think it's really fluid with the Packers offense. I think over the course of a season, Jaden Reed is probably the guy that is the most consistent out of those.
Mhm.
But like any one of these guys can have a big game. So
Uh-huh.
this was just like Romeo Dubs' big week. But yeah, that leads me to what do you do now with the Cowboys?
So, one of the things that came up when I Google searched Philadelphia Eagles, which is kind of funny, is that the Dallas Cowboys will be making changes to the staff. So,
Oh, no shit.
so,
It's like
so, so
next thing you're
apparently,
telling me that a pig can fly, man. I swear, like
so
shocking news.
apparently, Jerry Jones not too happy with the way his season ended. But back to my theory is, so like, there's different ways to play defense. There are like bend but don't break. There are like stifling defense. The Dallas defense was predicated on taking huge risks and getting good rewards. That's why you had one of their DBs lead the league in pick sixes. So the con of having that is you open yourself up to a bunch of big plays happening, and they just kept happening over and over and over again, and none of the risk ever paid off.
I mean, it's good to try and rationalize things, I guess.
Okay.
But that's a really fun way of saying that the way that they play defense is not playing defense
I mean, it's
at
true.
the end of the day.
It's true though.
And I mean, if there's one thing that I'm grateful about this game, it's that I won't have Dan Quinn as the Seahawks head coach anymore, because that was a possibility, and God forbid that happened, because that would be terrible. I've seen Dan Quinn led Falcons, and without an offensive genius in Shanahan, it went really badly. So yeah, this is the type of defense. I mean, the Dan Quinn defense looks good on paper
It's a
sometimes
basic defense. It's a pretty basic defense.
because because they have 9 interceptions in one guy, the Ron Bland, who is really
Yep.
not that good, but he gets the pick sixes, so
Yep.
it just
He took
masquerades
risks,
the deficiencies that he
just
takes.
like Diggs. Just like Diggs, he
Yeah,
takes
just
risks.
like Diggs, it takes risks. and he has Micah Parsons, just being Micah Parsons.
Right.
So it's not that hard to coach a defense and to have like a meaningful defense on the playoffs. Uh, when you have those sort of pieces around. But when you get to the playoffs, I mean, it just everything gets exposed, man. It's just everything. Like what was the one thing that the Dallas Cowboys struggled on offense every single game this year, basically?
Running the ball.
Okay, running the ball. What did he achieve running the ball this year, this week versus the Packers?
I believe it was 11 rushes for 56 yards and a touchdown from Tony Pollard. I forgot what everyone else had.
Actually, 15 carries, 56 yards, 3.7 yards per
15.
carry, one touchdown.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, and a long of 11 yards. Outside of that, I mean, Dak managed to run quite a
That's
bit.
actually a pretty good long. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
especially on 56. That means he was getting stifled a lot for that 11 yards.
If you take that out, it's 14 yards for what? 45 yards. It's 14
Yeah.
carries for 45 yards. It's
Yeah.
really bad. So, yeah, they couldn't run the ball, and when they were passing, Dak just made way too many mistakes at the end of the day. Like, yeah, I guess you can say the first pick wasn't totally on him. It was a very weak route by Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
But I mean, the throw was still made, and it wasn't the
My
greatest of
question: what
throws.
the fuck happened between him and CD Lamb? Like, did they get in a fight? Like, they were like, it was like CD Lamb every week, 100 yards, two touchdowns, three touchdowns. Like, and now it's just they couldn't like connect. What happened?
Yeah, they were talking about a lot in the broadcast. I'm not sure if it was ever explained why it wasn't clicking that day. But like second half came and it sort of clicked, but it sort of clicked in the garbage time portion of the game. It
Yeah.
just felt like they were out of sync. CD wasn't looking like the happiest guy on earth when he was sitting down at the sidelines. Even Mike McCarthy went out to talk with him.
No.
I'm not sure what happened, man. Really, like nothing really came out being reported of what happened. It just felt like a half game.
They just decided that this was the time they were not going to be in sync, and it was,
Yeah, it
in
was
the playoff game.
probably the biggest moment of the
Don't
whole
worry, guys.
season.
Don't worry, guys. We secured your fantasy ring. We're just not going to
Yeah,
secure our playoff win.
maybe they just think this is the regular season. We'll get him next week
We'll get them next week.
in Cancun. Psych.
Jesus, it's rough.
Oh,
So
it
Jake
was
Ferguson, 3 touchdowns. I believe he had almost 100 yards. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong.
93.
Yeah, he had almost 100. Okay. Is his stock up or down? I'm going to talk about basically one player every game. Fuck it. There's nothing of joy that's coming out of any of these games, so I might as well.
I don't think it moved at all, to be honest. Like, if you
I don't
watch the
think so.
game, two of those touchdowns were in garbage time when they were
Yeah,
down, I don't know, like 48
that's
to
fair. That's fair.
20 or something. It's like the Packers weren't really even trying at that point. So I don't think it moved the needle that much. He got a few big plays, but it was like, it is what it is, man. It was
Eh,
didn't really change the game a whole lot. I wouldn't be shocked if it's just the same next year. I think he's a good tight end. I just not sure if he's
dude.
consistent enough to be a top what 6-5 option. And if you're not a top 5 option, it's like it's a crapshoot. A tight end, it's like one week you can
Yeah,
go off and have a week like
I think
this.
he's as far as tight ends go, because tight end has a lot of variability from week to week. I think he was fairly consistent. Yeah, he had the dud weeks, but he had a lot of really good weeks.
Yeah, he had a lot of good weeks, but he had other weeks in which he did nothing. And I'm not saying that he lost you the week, or anything like that. But it's still like, for example, if you look at the games down the line, it's like week 13, he had a 16.7 fantasy points in FPPR. He had 6 catches, 77 yards, and a touchdown. After that, he had 9.7, 7.4, 6.5, 5.3, 9.9. He didn't achieve double digit points in any single one of those weeks from 14 to 18
Here's the
in
thing, though.
FPPR.
Here's the thing. The tight end position was so weak. I bet all of those, or if not 2/3 of those performances, were top 10 tight end performances. Am I wrong or right?
Yeah, maybe they were. I'm not checking that
Oh,
here.
okay. Yeah.
But like my point is just like there's like the best way to put it, it's like there's 20 top 10 tight ends when you put it like that. It's like there's 20 guys who
That's
any
fair.
single
That's fair.
week
That's
can
fair.
give you like 7 points or 9 points. So it's just
I'm
like
not saying
he's
he's
not.
Travis Kelsey. I'm saying like as far as options go, there are a lot worse out there.
Yeah, there are for sure. It's just like I don't think he's a top five option. And at this point, I think the star in the helmet
I
and
don't
like the
know
big
that I
games
could
that he had.
quite honestly, I don't know if I can even say that. So Travis Kelsey, Mark Andrews. I'm struggling to think of consistent tight ends after that.
Laporta.
Laporta. Oh, how can I forget Laporta? Laporta. And who's your
After
two?
that, Kelsey. Kelsey now. Kittle.
Maybe.
Kittle was
Yeah,
sort of
we'll put
consistent from
Kittle.
the
We'll,
opportunity.
we'll put Kittle. Yeah, we'll put Kittle. Yeah.
After that, who else do you have?
But you
After
really
that,
struggle to find like I don't know. It's hard.
Hawkinson.
Oh, how am I forget Hawk? Oh my God.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe you are right. Maybe
Goddard.
there are there
Ingram
are.
this year, for example, he had like 130.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
Ingram
had
had a good, but I don't
114
know if I
catches.
consider him a consistent top five. But yeah, okay. So yeah,
No,
that is a solid top five option.
but it's like it's a mix of guys after top five, and it's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
the
yeah.
guys
No,
that you
I get your
trust
point.
week
Yeah,
in, week out, and the rest it's like it's whatever. And at this point, you might be being premium based on what he had on wildcard week and the star in the helmet in general. So I don't
yeah,
think it's really worth the price. I think if you have him, you either manage to sell off the hype. I'm not saying that you sell him at all costs, but you
no,
will
no, no,
either
no.
sell him off the hype or you just keep him in. But you know that the ceiling and the like week to week output won't be like the best in the world. Won't be a top
Yeah,
five guy
that's fair.
probably.
That's fair. All right. So you want to talk about
And
another game I was wrong about? There's only one
no,
more left.
I just wanted to end the Dallas Cowboys game with one thing, one comparison
Oh,
that I
okay,
saw online. And
okay,
since
okay.
you're into NBA quite a lot,
Uh-huh,
I think
yeah.
this one will be fun. Mike
Okay.
McCarthy, and let me know if you trust this or not. Mike McCarthy is the NFL's version of Doc Rivers.
Oh God, yes. Oh God, yes.
I
I
knew
think
you would agree.
Okay, I think Doc Rivers is a better coach, but yes,
It's
the
just like
the context that they are trying to make, yes, 100%,
it's
100%.
like it's living off of that one Super Bowl that was carried by star players, and it's
Yeah,
like you're still living off of that one. You're not that great of a coach. You're a good coach at times. You sometimes overachieve on the regular season, but when you get to the playoffs, you just know it's done.
that's
You're
fair. Yeah,
not that guy.
that's fair. Oh, that
Um,
hurt. Is Mike McCarthy fired yet?
no, it should be, but he hasn't been fired yet, which I'm
So what are
surprised.
these staff changes that Dallas is talking about? We'll see what happens if I
Those
pick
will
Dallas
probably
Cowboys.
happen sometime soon. I'm not sure if they have
Dan
fired
Quinn fired?
anyone yet. It's funny that when sitting at the podium, Dak was like, "Yeah, if you're letting go of McCarty, then I should probably be on the hot seat as well. If Mike McCarty is on the hot seat, I should
Oh
probably be as
no!
well." And it's
This
like,
isn't a
"Yeah,
good
buddy, you
sign.
should.
This isn't
You
a good
should, buddy."
sign. Sports Inter Sports Illustrated reported 7 hours ago. Mike McCarthy job interview scheduled. Can coach avoid firing? Oh no.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh,
Bye bye.
Dan
Bye
Quinn has gone from
bye.
top candidate to consolation prize. Oh, that hurts.
Bye bye, then, Queen. Get out of my Seahawks, please. Get out. Get out.
Oh, this is painful scrolling.
Bye
Oh
bye.
no. Oh, here's let me read this. Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones sends clear message to players. Let's see. Jones told his players they had everything needed to win and they can't keep allowing the way they feel currently to happen.
Maybe it starts at the top, buddy.
The scene of the Dallas Cowboys locker room. Clean out day on Monday was similar to Sunday's post game at AT&T Stadium. Quiet and solemn. Oh
Just
no!
and just imagine the guys like packing up, not saying a word, just sitting there packing their stuff quietly.
It hasn't been 24 hours and I'm still in shock, Dallas Cowboys cornerback Jordan Lewis said. Oh, oh my God.
I love it, man.
It's always frustrating. The end goal for any team is to get to the Super Bowl. So for most teams like us, we always want to get to the Super Bowl. It's disappointing. It's a messed up feeling, Cowboys wide receiver Cavante Turpin said. Everybody around here is frustrated because we weren't supposed to win.
You gotta love it, man. It's just it's great, man. It's great. Like the salt in the Dallas Cowboys fans. It's great. I love it. And the players, they are just like absolutely flabbergasted, and I love it. I can't
Oh
wait when we're
man.
sitting here next year and it's the exact same thing.
Man, that was a good read.
Yes, the last game we need to talk about because there's not a whole lot to say about the Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I mean, they did their thing. It's like it's the one game which like you never really expected the Pittsburgh Steelers to do anything. Like you watch that game and it's like they never really had a chance. So I
No, they
think that
didn't.
one is like it's
They went
whatever.
in with Mason Rudolph in blizzard
Yeah,
conditions. They had no chance.
yeah. And Rudolph, to be frank and to be honest to him, he had a few nice throws that kept the Steelers on the in the game for longer than they
That's fair.
should. But at the end of the
That's
day,
fair.
it's like it doesn't really matter, man. No one really expected. It's like it's probably the worst team that made the playoffs. It's the Steelers because there's teams like
100%.
the Eagles are not a good team, the Cowboys are not a good team, but you at least knew that they had the pieces to try and
Here's a
make
question
something
for you.
good.
Here's a curious question for you. Obviously, it didn't work out this way, but would you have rather seen that Steelers team go into Buffalo, or would have rather seen, and maybe I'm just smoking on the copium. Would you have rather seen the Jake Browning led Bengals going into Buffalo versus the Steelers?
No, I think that Jake Browning led Bengals would have given a bigger show. I don't think the end result would be any different, but
No,
I
no,
think
yeah.
it
I'm
would
I'm just saying
the
for
offense played would be a bit better. So I think it would
yeah,
make the game a bit better overall.
yeah.
That's
Interesting.
yeah. Yeah, I think like the Steelers making it in. It's like it's the difference between good coaching and Nick Sirianni at the end of the day.
Oh, it's the
It's like
difference between good coaching and Nick Sirianni. Oh no.
it's really easy to coach when
Oh
like you haven't
no.
been figured out yet and like when you have the super team and everything just goes
Oh
right.
man.
But when shit hits the fan, that's when you see the truly good coaches and it's like
I think
the
we just found the
moment
title of today's episode. Oh my
the
God.
difference between good coaching and Nick Sirianni. Love it.
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, the difference is just like when you get figured out, it's how you adjust. And it's knowing that in this league, you don't last long unless you adjust. So you need to be
Right.
constantly on it. And like Sirianni clearly wasn't. And when he got figured out and when things got rough, he just had no clue what to do. And on the other side, on like in the Pittsburgh side of the equation here and the coaching equation, it's like Tomlin is a great coach. He just wills teams into the playoffs and into winning records when they have really no business in doing so. I mean, it's a team led by Mason Rudolph, who had Matt Canada as an offensive coordinator for most of the season. It's just like they had no TJ Watt. They had really nothing to write home about this game. And they still weren't as out on this game as the Eagles were versus the Bucks. So it is what it is, man. Maybe the Eagles should get a good coach. Bill Belichick to the
Oh,
Eagles. How about that?
Bill Belichick is rumored everywhere.
Yeah.
So Bill Belichick got. We haven't talked about the latest running of firings, have we?
What? Didn't
The
get that.
Bill. We didn't talk about the Bill Belichick firing, did we?
Think we did, didn't we?
Oh, we did. Okay,
Or
we
we
talked
just
about
talked
that and
about the
Saban.
Carol? Because oh no, did no, we didn't get to talk about the Pete Carroll firings and all of that, did we?
No, we didn't. So let's
Oh,
talk about
okay,
that
okay,
now.
okay, okay, okay.
We got some actual good head coaches to talk about today.
Yeah, the difference
Yeah,
between Nick Sirianni and the great coaches now.
yeah. So Bill Belichick got fired. He's rumored everywhere, but the biggest one is the Falcons. A, how do you feel about that? And B, where do you think the ideal fit for Bill Belichick is?
I honestly like the idea of the Falcons. I don't necessarily love that they have no like QB available right now that he can take over and make like a case for because we've seen that developing the younger QBs and like Mac Jones, but wasn't that great for him. But maybe that's just because the team around him wasn't that great, and I think the Falcons have a better roster that he can manage. And I'm not so sure that whichever team he goes to, I'm not so sure that he has like the entirety of player personnel decisions. So I think the Falcons would be a good choice. Then I think it would be probably either the Commanders, as I've said before, I think it's like the best job available, or the Eagles now that it's open. The sneaky one would be Dallas because
The
I
Eagles are
just
open?
they will be. They will be.
They will be.
Give it time. Give it time.
This guy.
What do you think though? Where do you think Bill Belichick lands?
That's a really, really tough call.
And do you think, like, whichever place he lands, do you think he will still have player personnel decisions? Like, he will be the GM and the
Yes.
coach.
So
You
okay,
think
so
so?
here's my crazy theory. I think he goes to the Chargers
Oh God,
because
no.
because the Chargers are the Bill Belichick team. You need a good quarterback with a defense that has good players but has not been performing and is terrible in situational football. Bill Belichick is good at all those things: coaching, defense, situational football, and they have a shit cap space to boot. So it's something he's already used to. So yeah,
So we
the
should. What you're
Chargers.
telling me is that he probably should go to the Cowboys or the Eagles.
Oh, do you think that
They,
Bill
they
would
fit
like?
all of the descriptions.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But do you think that Bill would want to be in the spotlight of being the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys?
I'm not sure why you wouldn't want to be in that position. Like, that's a pretty
He,
solid gig.
it is a solid gig and it will be lucrative, but I'm just saying, like, Bill Belichick doesn't strike me as the guy who's foaming at the mouth to get into a post game interview.
But you know how you beat all of those? Yeah, Tom Brady made you like sentiment that goes around sometimes. You
How's
win the
that?
first Super Bowl with Dallas since the 1990 what six? That's it.
Oh
That's how you
God.
beat all of those statements. If you win the Super Bowl with the star on the helmet, like no one will say that Brady made you. First, because the annoying Dallas Cowboys fans
I,
will come out of
I
the
was about to say
woodshed and they will be like,
you'll have the biggest swath of NFL fans on your side, the Cowboy fans.
yeah, it's just like it
So
doesn't matter anymore. Like people
yeah, it
might
doesn't
think the
matter.
other way around, but they
It
won't
doesn't
be
matter
loud
how much
enough.
logic you want to put into the air. You'll have two Cowboys coming at you telling you wrong.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't really matter. So if you want to beat the allegations, that's it. Or maybe you win the Super Bowl with the Eagles and then you retire. That will get like the Eagles fan on your side. But you need to retire because the moment things go south, they will be calling for your head. So you need to retire
So
right away. It's like you
who do
win
you
the Super Bowl
who
and you're out.
who do you think is the better Bill Belichick quarterback as far as working under Bill Belichick's like mentality? Do you think that's Dak Prescott or do you think that's Jalen Hurts?
I think that's probably where you were right in your first like spot that he lands, and I think that's Justin Herbert.
Exactly.
The answer is not is neither A or
None of
B.
the
It's
above.
C.
The
Yeah,
answer is none of it from the above.
that's it. Yeah, I think you were right in that sense that like the QB that works best with Bill Belichick, it's probably Herbert. Because I think Dak will lead him mad with the turnovers. Although, like in the regular season, they didn't have as many, but when the when the moment mattered, like Dak just threw them picks like he usually does. And Hurts,
Here's
I'm
what
not
I
so
can say.
sure that he can coach him
Here's what I can
effectively.
say because I was thinking about this. Here's what I can say about Bill in Philadelphia. I was at first, my first thought was like, okay, would Bill accept the tush push? And then I was like, wait, yes, he would. It's a play that only they can do, generally speaking. They're stupid efficient at it, and no one else in the NFL can do it. It's right up Bill's alley. He likes
It's
that.
it's Bill's bread and jam. It's like it's his favorite thing in the world is to abuse plays that are just like
That other
what
teams
what
can't
he
do.
yeah
Yes.
yeah exactly. I mean yeah, so in that sense it would work with Philly. But I think it's a mix. I think if you're really pushing me to say between the two QBs which one would work better under Bill, I think it might be Hurts. But
I think you're right too.
I think in the end he probably
Here,
lands in
here's
Dallas. I think Jerry
here's
Jones will load up
oh,
with
Jerry
drugs.
Jones will
I mean,
throw like whatever
and
Brinks truck
like
he needs to throw.
like the dude
Whatever,
is
yeah,
desperate for a Super Bowl before he just goes to
dies.
goes
Yeah,
to his like dying bed. So
yeah. So here's what I will say about Jalen Hurts is as far as his mentality goes. It does seem like Jalen Hurts struggles more than Dak as far as like pre-line reads and what are we gonna do if they're blitzing? Like Bill will prepare you for that. So I think
yes.
in that case, Bill would be better for Jalen Hurts than he would for Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I think so as well. It's like you really can change Dak Prescott's tendencies, I think, at this point.
So in the same year that Bill Belichick got fired from the New England Patriots, basically my childhood is fucked. In the same year that Bill Belichick got fired from the New England Patriots, Nick Saban also retired from college football. Do you have any thoughts on Nick Saban, the Alabama head coach, retiring from college football? Because he is the most known college
Yeah,
football head coach.
like I obviously know him, but as I usually say, I don't watch a whole lot of college football. But I think it probably means that Bama might not be that powerhouse that it once was. And it's not
Here's
just because they're losing the coach. But I saw a really good argument the other day, and it's like why so many players are probably decommitting from Alabama right now. And when you go to Bama, you're playing for the school, but you're not really playing for the school. You're playing for the guy who
playing for
went to
Nick
your
Saban.
yeah, you're playing for the guy who went to your parents' living room, sat there and said that he would coach you for 3, 4, 5 years, and he would make you a great NFL prospect. And that guy is not there anymore. So you that's why you see so many players decommitting right now. And I think it
Okay,
makes sense, and it probably
I,
affects Bama's status for the short term.
I have a really spicy take, and I'm probably going to get banned from traveling to the southern hemisphere of the United States after I say this.
Aren't
So,
you in the southern hemisphere already?
no,
No?
no, no, no,
Okay.
no, no. I'm in
Okay.
the Midwest. I'm in the
Okay.
Midwest. So, I think even though it won't, this kind of like puts a tarnish on his legacy to me. It won't for everyone else, and here's why. So, before the NIL money came out, he was staunch in saying that the NIL money is bad. It's making him less competitive with recruits, and he just has a problem with the whole system. I don't think he can compete in a system where you're actually paying athletes their fair wage. The people who say that, the value of going to college and playing football in college is the degree, are the same people that Nick Saban took advantage of all these years. Nick Saban was able to make a powerhouse when there wasn't financial incentive to go to a specific school. Now that the tides are more or less clear, then they can offer you money to come to your college. He can't do it. He can't compete. He can't field a better team. So I think he ran. That's just me personally. I get the man 70 and he's proven all he wants to prove it. But I think if NIL money was not in the college football scheme right now, this man would still be coaching.
Okay, so I 100% agree that like being against the NIL money, it's like it's just dumb to be honest. Like these
Yeah.
kids, some of them don't even make it to the NFL, and you're making hundreds of millions of dollars.
Not only that, like a degree in America is worth a lot less than it was when like Nick Saban was going to college. And not only that, on top of that, there are players who will are playing just to play football and make it to the next step. They don't give two shits about their degree. So what do you
Yeah,
do
but
about those players? Like
yeah,
these
exactly.
players deserve if you're this good, you deserve to be financially compensated in college. My take. That's my take.
Yeah, but my issue with the point is like I knew that it was against the NIL money,
Yes.
but like couldn't Bama just offer as much money as any other like college? Because from what I
They
know,
weren't willing. They weren't willing.
they weren't willing, but it's like it's a principle thing because they probably have the money for that.
There's no way they don't. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a principle thing.
You're the most
Yeah.
popular college team in America. There's no way you don't have the money.
And yeah, I did see someone else who agreed with you in the sense that they weren't necessarily saying that he was running from this, but they were saying that if NIL wasn't the thing, he would be coaching for longer because he just really
Yep.
dislikes the whole like system and the whole. I'm not sure why he
Because he
would.
doesn't have a monopoly on players.
Yeah, but it's
That's
like,
the thing. That's the words
is
he's
it
not
just
saying. That's
greediness?
the meaning between the sentence.
And
He cannot compete now.
is it just greediness?
Yes. Yes,
Okay,
it's
okay,
greediness.
so okay, so the board wants to keep the money, and like the whole donors who fund it want to keep more money for themselves. That's it. And he wants more money for himself, I guess.
Oh no, it's not that he wants more money for himself. He wants a monopoly on players.
Yeah, but it's like if you have the money, so
Yeah.
if you were willing, you would still have the monopoly on players because you're still the most popular college in
Would
America.
you though?
I mean,
Would
I'm
you
not.
though?
It's like
'Cause it's pretty
players
hard to compete with
actively.
Texas money.
Yeah, but doesn't Alabama have deeper pockets? I have no clue about any of this, like the finances
I
and all of
actually want
that.
to Google this as far as what each college is worth right now. Hold on.
Like, I
But
would
yeah, go on. Sorry.
think that Bama would be up there in like the richest college in terms of what they can give to the athletes because of how much they get in sponsors and all of the championships that they've won and all of that. Like, if like you would rather go to Bama than any other college, and Bama is offering you the same as any other college, why wouldn't you still go to Bama? So that's why I asked if it's greediness from either Saban, the board, the donors, all of that. Is it greediness for them because they want to keep more money from what they
In
gain in the
September of
NCAA?
2022, Alabama was worth a net worth of 2.7 billion.
Okay.
Texas, by comparison, oh my God, 42 billion.
22 billion.
No, no, you have to 42 billion.
42.
42 billion.
Okay, I had no clue it was that like wide.
That-
Okay, then yeah, you probably need a view. That's understandable then. Yeah. But it's
Oh
like
my
he wasn't
God.
even fielding that bad of a team. Like this year's team went to the like top four. Still. Yeah, they lost to Michigan, right?
Yeah, Michigan who won it
Yeah,
all.
they lost to Michigan, won it all. But it's like Michigan probably doesn't have like the deepest pockets as well, right? They
They're
probably
an
are.
old-timey school. Oh, hold on. Let
Yeah,
me look this up now.
now we're just looking up colleges. But yeah, like
College
Michigan,
Network. Yeah.
I know some colleges, and like in my mind, it would be like Bama, Michigan, Texas, for example. But it's clearly not.
17 billion.
Yeah. So it's Texas, it's Michigan, and it's Bama, apparently. Wow, Bama is really low compared to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it just because they're a small town? They're not that big of a town, are they?
Yeah,
At least in
Alabama's
comparison.
a pretty bad state in the US, quite
Yeah.
honestly.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
But yeah, no, this once again confirms my theory. Alabama is not like a powerhouse school as far as funds go. So they basically lose their whatever five state monopoly that they had by saying that they're Alabama. Okay, I'm Texas. Here's $1 million. That's a drop in the bucket to them.
Yeah, that's true. And it's surprising that it wasn't like a net coaching gig that immediately got a bunch of coaches riled
How
up
much,
to go
how
for.
much, how much did Nick Saban make in his final year?
Because like
Just out of curiosity.
Lanings, I know that the Oregon
He
coach
made
wasn't named.
$11 million in his final year.
That's a lot of dough.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it wasn't like such a sought after job. Like Lanings, for example, was a name that I heard a lot, and apparently was just okay sitting at Oregon. So I'm
Ooh, yeah,
surprised that I guess they filled the position now with the Washington coach, but I'm still surprised
that's
that they couldn't
crazy.
get like a bigger name. And maybe that's just it. Maybe they just can't compete in this NIL day.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe you were onto something there. And since we're talking about college football, Harbaugh won what he needed to win with Michigan. He won the big one.
He won
And
the big
now
one.
he has two interviews already done. He has already interviewed with the Falcons and he interviewed with the Chargers. The Chargers was actually the first interview. So, do you think this is finally the time in which
I think this is
both
going to be a really
Harbaughs,
fun fucking off season, dude.
yeah, do you think both
We're gonna.
Harbaughs touch in the NFL next year?
I was about to say we got Jim Harbaugh interviewing. We got Bill Belichick interviewing. We if Pete wants to stay around, we got Pete Carroll interview. Like we got a lot of fucking good coaches interviewing.
I think Pete probably takes like a break this year, but I think
I
he
agree.
coaches somewhere next year.
So
The Pete firing was surprising to me.
why?
Uh, because I really didn't expect him. I thought he wouldn't be let go of, although like it was pretty ceremonious. Like they didn't really fire him or anything. They said that he would be transitioning to the front office or to the upper management. I think it was just like from what I heard from Pete in his press conference, feels like he was more pushed towards the front door, not the front office. And I think he will stay there a year and then he goes coaching somewhere. I just thought that they maybe would just like let him be another year, and then next year the contract was up, and they would just let him go that way, like they
Yeah.
weren't gonna bring him back. But I'm surprised they fired him because I'm not seeing a coach that you can bring in that is realistic that you can bring in and it's better than Pete. Because I don't think like Arbo is a realistic signing for the Seahawks, and I don't think
No,
Belichick
you guys
would
aren't a
be.
big guy. You guys aren't a big like as far as market. That's
Yeah,
what I'm talking
so
about.
I don't think you get like an Arbaugh because you don't have like a Justin Herbert or like Dak Prescott or Jalen Hurts,
Okay.
any of that, and you don't have the big market. So I think you're kind
Call
of
me
like just
crazy.
stuck.
Call me crazy. You ready for this?
What?
You guys are gonna hire Brian Callahan.
Ooh, do you think so?
I think so.
I'm not necessarily sure that I like that. Should I like that?
He's the Bengals offensive coordinator.
Yeah. I was actually thinking that a guy that we might realistically get, and this is why I don't understand moving off of Pete Carroll, because I think this coach will be in the same line of Pete and is not as good as Pete. It's Mike Vrabel.
Vrabel.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think now that the New
Vrabel
England
does strike me as
coaching,
a Seahawks coach.
yeah, you would, wouldn't he? But it's like, it's
Yeah.
just like a younger, probably
He,
worse Pete Carroll.
yeah.
And I
I don't know
do
about.
think
I don't
he,
know. I don't know if I don't know. That's hard. I think they're about the same.
yeah, I think like Carroll, just based on what he achieved so far, probably
That's
better.
fair.
Maybe like at this
Fair.
point in time, it's the gap isn't that big, but I think it's like it's a sideways move at best.
Yeah.
And apparently, one of the reasons in which he left the Tennessee Titans was because he wanted more roster control. I'm not sure if like now that John Schneider has like final saying on the players for the first time in his like whole career, I'm not sure if he will give that up to Vrabel, but I think Vrabel has seen that like in Seattle you can work like side to side and like the relationship will flow beautifully. And
Right.
I think that will like make the decision easier for him to go to Seattle, even though he might not have final saying, he will have a lot of input that will be like fairly well considered.
Yeah.
So I think Vrabel will be probably the guy that gets the job now that Mayo has taken off the New England Patriots job, which I
Okay.
think it's weird.
So here's interesting. Then here's something I didn't think about. Then are you saying that the AJ Brown deal was not something Brable was on board with?
No, I think he definitely wasn't. I think the whole last like 2 years he wasn't really in any sort of control of roster
That's
decisions.
crazy. That's crazy.
I know for sure this last year he wasn't because that's when they got the new GM. But I'm not
Hmm.
so sure if he got any saying on the AJ Brown trade either, to be honest.
Hmm.
I think it was a numbers move.
Oh yeah, of course it was to save money, but
Yeah. Like, no coach wants that.
yeah, yeah. Huh.
But yeah,
That's something to
I
think
think
about.
it's going to be Vrabel right now. I might be wrong. I don't really see any links to it. I just think, like, philosophically, I think he would be the sort of coach that gets a big consideration from the Seahawks. And it's like he's not from a huge market either, and I'm not so sure that he is like the main candidate for some of these teams. In which the Seahawks, I think, is used to the small market, and I
Yep.
think he just fits with the team.
Call me
Yeah,
stupid, call me
I would be
crazy.
pumped.
Call me stupid and call me crazy. What if he goes back to New England?
Who?
Vrabel.
No, I'm saying Vrabel because the New England position has been filled.
By whom?
Jared Mayo.
I didn't. What? I didn't see this. When did
Yeah,
this happen?
they hired him. Like, I believe it was either during the weekend or on Friday. It was something like that.
Oh, when my furnace was out. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they hired him straight away. Like, didn't really give much consideration to it. Yeah. That's
Gerard
why I'm
Mayo,
saying
yeah.
Vrabel. Because I thought that Vrabel would be a shoe-in for the Patriots. Like, there's a lot of connections there. But apparently, like,
That's
it was
crazy.
set in stone that it was Jared Mayo. And I'm not so sure that it's a great pick. But yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, he does have history with New England, but that is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he has been coaching under Bill for quite a while, but I'm not so sure if he's like the right play right now.
6 things we learned from Jared Mayo's introduction as the New England Patriots head coach. Let's see. Mayo sees himself as a teacher first and foremost. Mayo calls Robert Kraft Thunder. I'm not even sure what the hell that means. Mayo does
Oh,
not want to be Bill Belichick. No fucking shit.
oh my God.
Mayo wants players to take ownership of the program. I'm guessing that means we're going to see a lot more looser, like, as far as like being able to show your own personality. He's going to be more player friendly, is what I'm saying.
Mm.
Everything is up for evaluation and change.
It
Robert
honestly
Kraft.
looks like a train wreck incoming.
Robert Kraft vows not to get involved in football decisions. Does that mean Mayo also is the GM?
No, they probably sign a GM, but it's like there won't be meddling from the owner.
There has been rumors about team owners Robert and Jonathan Kraft having started to get more involved with football operations over the past few years, and ultimately led to Bill Belichick and the team agreeing to part ways. However, Kraft vowed not to get involved. We try to hire the best people we can find and let them do their job and hold them accountable. If you get involved and tell them what to do or try to influence, then you can't hold them responsible and have them accountable.
It's just
Okay, that's kind of ominous. That's kind of like saying, like, okay, Mayo, if you fuck up, we're gonna get you. Like,
but
I don't know.
it's just an odd signing. It's like I understand it's New
Yeah,
England. He has been with New England for a while now, coaching. He spent his whole
right, right.
career in New England. I understand all that, but it's like he's
Yeah,
an inside linebackers coach who has really no experience in play calling, and they didn't even wait for the GM to get on board. So now you're giving whichever GM comes on board a coach already that isn't his decision. So that only
I
makes the
I
job
think
less appealing.
I think Mayo might be. I don't know how you can do that though. I think Mayo might be in charge of operations too.
No,
That'd
I
be
doubt
crazy.
it. I doubt it. I think they have seen how that went with Bill, and I'm not sure if they will put like a guy who's coaching for the first time as a head coach all of those decisions on his plate.
Let's see. New England General Manager. Oh, there's a rumor that there's an executive inside of the New England facility that could get a promotion. Oh no, here we go. NBC Boston Patriots now expected to bring in new GM.
Yeah, but new GM, so it's as you said, someone inside the house who gets the promotion. You can read it that way.
Here's what I'm told about the Patriots front office situation. They are not expecting to bring in a new general manager. It's anticipated by team sources that both Matt Groh and Elliott Wolf will remain with the Patriots and have prominent roles in personnel. Okay, okay, okay. So
Yeah, it's
they
gonna
will
be
work
someone.
alongside Mayo to make decisions as far as.
Yeah,
Okay, okay, okay.
they
Gotcha.
will have a
That's fair.
figure or two as GMs. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep, yep, yep.
but yeah, it's gonna be
That's
an
fair.
interesting hiring circle, I guess, and
This is
one
gonna
that
be
I'll
crazy.
finally be a
We're
part
gonna
of. That's the first time that
we're
I've
gonna
ever had a coach change in my team since I've been following them.
Hmm. What do you think that means for players like Kenneth Walker and JSN, and specifically, honestly, someone like Geno Smith and Drew Lock?
Uh, Depends on the coach, really, because that changed the whole scheme. Like, if it's a Mike Vrabel, I think I would be pretty happy about Kenneth Walker, to be honest, because I think he will have him
That's fair.
run like as the one, and there will be really no meddling. Maybe it's just closer to Pete, to be honest, though, because I'm thinking about it, and it's like his reluctantness, and how he was reluctant to like pass the ball to Derrick Henry, and how he would always take him out On passing
Yeah.
downs, I think Kenneth Walker is a bit better in passing downs than Derrick Henry was, but I'm not sure if it's enough to the point in which Vrabel will change his ways.
Are you
But I
saying
still
that
would be excited
Zach
about it.
Chardonnay could be a thing?
No.
No?
Like he will be the same thing as any other like Tennessee
Tajay
Titans
Spears
backup
looks good.
running back
Tajay Spears looked really
prior
good.
prior to Tajay Spears.
Okay, okay.
You don't let me finish, Angelo.
Uh-huh, 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 uh-huh.
Yeah. But we shall
Whatever.
see. We shall see what happens.
Just
Yes, it's
speaking
just
of Tajay Spears, like, are you buying Tajay Spears, selling him? Is his like stock about to skyrocket? Like, what do you got?
I think you're better off selling him like
That's
when the
fair.
hype hits. Because he has the knee issues. He has the same knee issue, I believe, as Todd Gurley. I don't think he has
Yeah,
any cartilage on the knee. So it's gonna be like a steep decline when it happens. And I'm not sure if the Titans will be a good enough offense for me to hold on to that running back.
that's fair.
So I think when the
I'm
hype
at, I was
hits and when
I
it's
was
sure that they
actually
won't bring
like,
another guy,
I'm
trade him.
not gonna lie. When Derrick Henry's like signs and it's not the Titans, I'm probably gonna immediately put Tajay Spears in the trade block.
I think that's a smart move, to be
That's
honest.
it. You know, just see.
I'm not saying trade him for a random pick, but you can get
Oh no,
other players that are probably as productive
more
and
wide
have a
receivers
longer,
for me.
yeah, and they have longer shelf lives, like wide receivers, and even some running backs who have longer shelf lives.
My wide receivers are so deep, I might have to like just, I don't know.
Go for another running back. If you're win now, trade for a better win now piece. If you're rebuilding, trade for a better rebuild piece. Like
Yeah,
Tajay
that's
is
fair.
just whatever. It's like in a weird limbo, which he probably won't be good enough for you to like really be competing. He won't be the piece that you need for competing, and he probably won't last long enough for you to be in a rebuild. So
Oh, I'm not in a rebuild.
yeah, I'm saying like in general.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Mm,
You
okay,
know, Link still hasn't gotten back to me about where he wants his stupid trophy or
you need
belt.
to push him further, but I guess I can get in touch via Discord as well.
Like, I'm not gonna lie. I look every like 3 or 4 days to see if I got any new DMs, and I never have any. I was like, oh, he'll get to me when he gets to me.
Yeah,
You know?
it is what it is.
Yeah. I think that's the show. That was a good
Oh,
show.
no. We're missing two
No,
things
no, no, no.
here.
No. That's the show. Go on.
No. We're missing the predictions, Angelo. No. Yeah. So, recap from last week. After I
Oh
said that we
Lord.
should probably do this thing for my redemption. First week of the playoffs, I went 5-1 in the picks. I only got Cleveland wrong. You went 1-5, Angelo.
huh.
And not only that, but when picking straight up, when you made our playoff predictions, you got the
Uh-huh.
AFC almost right. You got Buffalo right. You got KC right. You messed up Cleveland. And then you messed up the whole NFC, which
Uh,
means that your picks in the NFC are all over the place, my guy. All over the
uh-huh.
place. But
Uh-huh.
technically, you still have the two Super Bowl picks playing because you picked KC versus San Francisco. So both are still alive right now. I'm not sure if you want to
Yeah.
redo any of those picks.
No.
No. Okay, so we'll just jump straight into the predictions then for the week
I
on the
mean, I will if
spreads.
you want me. If you want me to completely redo the NFC, I can.
Do
But
you want to?
my AFC just goes as follow: Houston knocks off Baltimore, Kansas City knocks off Buffalo, Kansas City beats Houston. That doesn't change. But
Okay, so
I
AC
don't even
Super
know.
Bowl. And the NFC?
I don't even know what the
Okay,
NFC
so
matchups are.
NFC it's Packers at San Francisco 49ers, and it's the Tampa Bay
49ers.
Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions.
I don't know who to pick.
Oh, buddy.
Give me the Bucks.
The
Screw it.
Bucks.
You gonna
Okay,
call
and
them
then
fraudulent too?
I mean, they are, but they are not as. It's not that they're fraudulent. They are what they are. It's like they are not a great team, but they can string things along. I think they get absolutely beaten this week by Detroit.
Uh-huh.
And okay, so then it's Tampa Bay at San Francisco. And who do you have?
San Fran, of course.
San Fran, and the Super Bowl winner is.
San Fran.
All right. So I can't wait for us to redo this again next week after you fail all the picks again.
Oh Lord.
Okay, so divisional round of the playoffs.
Yeah, you can. I don't even have the thing in front of me. You can just read them off.
Okay.
Right,
Okay, so first one, Houston
right.
Texans at the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens are
Uh-huh.
9.5 point favorites. Over
Uh-huh.
under is 43.5. Who do you have,
Uh-huh.
Angelo?
Give me the Texans.
The
Texans
Texans. Houston
with
Texans.
upset alert.
On upset alert.
Upset alert.
So Houston plus 9.5 for you.
Who do you have?
I think that's the end of CJ Stroud's Cinderella season. Was a great season by
Wow.
Stroud, more than I expected, but give me Baltimore minus 9.5. Next up, the Green Bay
Is
Packers
the
at the
game's gonna be
San
close.
Francisco 49ers. The Niners are 9.5 point favorite. Over under is 50.5. And honestly, give me the Packers plus 9.5. I think the Niners
I'm gonna
win the
agree with
game,
you.
but give me the 9.5. I think that's a whole lot of points for a team that is.
Actually, no. You know what? Fuck you and fuck that. Give me the San Francisco 49ers to sacrifice the Green Bay Packers.
I'm not sure if a sacrifice will happen this week. But
Sacrifice is
okay.
happening this week.
Okay, next up it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions. Lions are 6.5 point favorites. Over under is 48.5. And who do you have?
Give me the Buccaneers.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers plus
Huh.
6.5. Yeah, I'm gonna go against you here as well. Give me the Detroit Lions minus 6.5. I think it's a big beating, and the Lions go to the championship game.
Gross.
And finally, the game of the week, the Kansas City Chiefs at Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, 2.5 point favorites. Over under is 45 points on the dot.
Oh.
And as I said prior, the Bills are putting the scary man to rest this year. This is not Mahomes' year. Not taking anything away from him, but this is not his year. So give me Buffalo minus 2.5.
John Wick's gonna strike Buffalo again. Give me Mahomes and and the Chiefs.
Okay,
Talked
so
about the
that's
Patriots so much I almost said the Patriots.
that's it then. The picks are in. Another four teams that you've cursed this week. I hope you're happy about
14.
it. Four teams cursed.
14 said I curse this guy.
And
What will
yeah,
you do if the Packers beat the 49ers?
hmm, nothing major to be honest. I
Nothing.
think the Packers are probably the sneakiest team here. Like I wouldn't be shocked if this team made the Super Bowl for some reason. Because when they get hot,
I
like
would.
LaFleur has been putting on a master in terms of coaching. Like he has sublime he has been sublime as a coach this year. And I think it's showing in the first game of the playoffs. So I wouldn't really be shocked. Like the only thing that would shock me if the defense just started to play lights out all the remaining games.
Decided to play lights out.
Yeah, because they've been terrible all year. So that's the one main concern that I have with the Packers. But outside of that, like when
The
they are
shocking
on,
thing is if the Packers play good defense in the
yeah,
playoffs.
if the
Oh
Packers
Lord.
play defense.
Oh Lord.
Because outside of that, like when Jordan Love is on, I've said this before and I'll say it again. He is probably a top 12 guy in the league.
Oh.
And yeah, now you can
Man.
say that it's the show.
It's the show. You take
It's the
us out.
show.
I'm done.
All right, then. As Angelo usually says, he's in a bad mood today because things got rough. There's a nice little fancy donate button right there that you can click to help us out. If you're listening on the Apple Podcasts app, if you're listening on the Spotify app, just leave us a 5-star review. Turn on the auto download as well. That really helps. If you're listening on YouTube, just like, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and yeah, subscribe to the channel. I'm pretty sure that I've said that. I'll say it again. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the first week of the playoffs, guys. There's a whole lot more coming in. The offseason is looking wild right now with all of these coachings available, all of these coaches available. And yeah, tune in next week to see how much Angelo has screwed these 4 teams. See you next week, guys.
Fuck you, Alex.